Hey guys, Ruckus Gaming here, coming at you with another episode of Tuesday Tips and Tricks. Today we're going to start a new series I'm calling, What the Hell is Up with That? In this series, I want to try and help newer players understand some of those cards or relics that don't immediately look very good. They look like they might be hard to use, they're confusing, they're intimidating, and you'll often end up skipping them because you're just not sure how to fit them into a deck or how to build a deck around them and make them actually good. For today's topic, I want to talk about one of my favorite kind of weird, uncommon builds, and that is an Ironclad Self-Damaging build. I think there are a lot of players who might see cards that cost HP to play and feel a little unsure, wonder whether or not that those are actually worth it, or how you can use them to their best advantage. So I went on a run, I took all the self-damaging cards I could find, and I want to show you guys what a good self-damage run kind of looks like. And at the end, I will also add in some other things to look out for. I obviously can't cover every possible angle. There's so many different ways it can go, but I'll try to give some important items, relics, and cards to look out for when you're going on these self-damaging runs. Alright, so looking at my run history, I don't want to go over every single tiny little detail, but I'll just break it down into a couple important pieces of each act. And I'll say that for Act 1, the three most important cards that I picked up were the Bloodletting, which I obviously eventually did upgrade to a Bloodletting Plus. I also picked up a Whirlwind, and I picked up a Carnage. That meant that I was able to take 3 elites across all of Act 1. I got very, very strong, and then I went into the Act 1 fight, or the Act 1 boss fight, and was able to get by pretty quickly. For the Act 1 rewards, I took the Calling Bell relic because I'm just a degenerate. The smart play would have been the Runic Cube. Getting a draw every time you deal yourself damage and you're playing a self-damage deck, that's a lot of draw. I should have been smarter and taken that Runic Cube, but I couldn't resist the bell. And the bell did work out quite nicely for me, but I wouldn't say that was the high pick there, high percentage play. Same as well for the card reward. I did take a Limit Break over a Fiendfire. It is because I'm forcing a kind of deck. I am just doing that for the sake of filming this video. If I were trying to do this for the best chance at winning, I definitely would have taken the Fiendfire over the Limit Break, but I know what I'm building towards, and I just want to take pieces that fit that and hope that it kind of comes together by the end of the video. In Act 2, I would say another of the 3 cards that were the top 3 that we picked up in all of Act 2. Number 1 would be Hemokinesis. This is just a very strong card overall, especially if you're going in the self-damage direction. It's just great damage. We also picked up a Feed, which gives us good sustain since we are taking a lot of damage. Raising our HP is very nice. And we picked up Apparitions. This is going to pair very nicely with the Feed and the HP loss. This is going to make those HP losses smaller, and the Feed is going to help reduce the negative side effect of losing max HP from Apparitions. Very neat little combo there. I just wanted to show a little bit of the Act 2 boss fight. You can see why some of these cards work so well together. Apparitions to reduce the damage. Bloodletting has its penalty reduced. Hemokinesis has its penalty reduced. So I'm taking a lot less damage from my own cards, which is quite nice. As a side note, having armaments with apparitions makes them immensely better and easier to get in play and keep in play for when you need them. The only real card we ever needed to pick up in all of Act 3 was Rupture, but boy, this one was important. Every time we lose HP from a card, we gain strength. That is a huge amount of scaling, and it is enough to eventually win the run for us. Alright, I think it might be a little fun to just see this deck in action, so I want to show most of Act 4. I might cut out a little bit of time editing, but I think the card plays should all be there. You can see we have Apparitions and Rupture already up and helping us out. We are just looking to delay as long as we can with our Apparitions while we get our setup going. Unfortunately, our buffer doesn't work great with our self-damage, and I do have to wait for some Rupture strength because of the debuff. If I used my limit break there, I would have gone even further into negative strength. So I couldn't use that there. Had to wait on that. So it's a little bit tricky, much more challenging than any of the Act 3 fights that I had been. Most of Act 3 was pretty easy, but Shield and Spear are pretty tough. Thankfully, this self-damage deck is also quite strong. We're blocking quite easily. Unfortunately, don't get the corruption there, but we're okay. We played a Battle Trance, got a nice big hand, got the armaments. Corruption's in play, now all our skills are free. We got Apparitions, doubling strength with limit break, and we are exactly where we want to be. We are starting to scale up, and now it's just a matter of time until we finish this fight. Cut out a long pause there at the end of the turn, but this is the very next turn, start of turn 6. I'm actually going to end up using pretty much all of my potions here. Thankfully, I do have that ectoplasm potion to refill that belt, but I really needed to make sure that Shield died here. I didn't have a lot of options with the hands I was initially dealt, so with that very nice potion in my back pocket, I went a little crazy on this turn. With all the exhaust I have in the deck as well, between stuff like Burning Pact and of course Corruption, Purity, the deck is slimming quite quickly. We're already down to a little less than 20 cards. That means with all of the strength I generate from Rupture and the self-damaging cards, I'm going to play those attacks very, very quickly. And combined with the block that I'm banking with Calipers, now that I get that very nice late pickup, I don't have to worry about blocking. I can just full out attack, and once my strength scales up, I am on easy street. Alright, starting off the heart fight. Having Rupture bottled with the Bottled Tornado is super nice. Makes sure that all of my scaling is always in play as soon as possible. We get the armaments on the Apparitions, which is nice, but not anything super special this turn really. Just putting a little bit of block on in expectation for the damage we're gonna be taking. We've got the Apparitions for the easy block. Unfortunately, we do lose the Bloodletting Plus there. That kind of hurt a little bit. I was hoping we would get the wound, but we're not that lucky. We do full block though. Again, we see here getting apparitions just on the turn we need it. Surviving long enough to let us get our scaling going. We've got the Inflame on. We can unfortunately not get Limit Break this turn, but with the potion we can. Burning packed away one of those nasty status cards, and that's not a bad turn. Here, I hesitate just for a moment on this Corruption because I do want to keep the Flex around and get a second use out of it later. So I decide to play that first on the Pummel, then use the Corruption and really accelerate this fight towards its end. This is an absolutely fantastic hand. We are going to spend a little bit of time kind of thinking and puzzling out here, but basically we are going to be scaling up our strength as high as we can with the Spot Weakness and Limit Break, exhausting a lot of cards with our Feel No Pain to get some block, also doubling up to 24 strength with Limit Break, and now we are very confident that we will be ending this fight soon. I believe this is our last apparition, so we are now at the point where we need to end this fight quickly, but we are scaling. We are up to 30 strength now, I believe. No, 26. 26 strength now, but our deck is also extremely small. We're down to about 10 or so cards here. We've got multi-attacks, especially like Sword Boomerang, free attacks, Blood for Blood. We've got a lot of damage coming in a lot of different ways, and this fight is just about done. Spend that potion here because why not? Can't take it home with you. Now I'm just being very super careful, making sure I have enough to use my feed for the kill, because that's extremely satisfying, and I eat that heart up. Alright, so as kind of a post-game wrap-up, I would say the MVPs of this run, Bloodletting, especially as far as just the minus HP cards go. That's super important, great in any kind of deck anyway. Hemokinesis is great damage and fits our HP loss theme, but Rupture was the absolute key piece that we needed to really push this one over the edge. As far as relics, Thread and Needle was amazing for providing amazing little sources of block after we got apparitions, and the 4-plated armor blocked almost all of the damage for the entire run. Ornamental Fan serves a very similar sort of role and was just icing on the cake. Either or would have been good. Calipers was great late in Act 4, being able to store all of the block that we were able to build up quickly with Feel No Pain and Corruption, exhausting our skills. We were able to save that block and then use it for those turns when we couldn't get apparitions when we needed it. Bottled Tornado was great for bottling Rupture and making sure we always had it when we needed it. The number one card we really would have loved to have seen would have been Offering. This is one of those minus HP cards that is always good no matter what, just because of the energy and draw. Brutality could have been quite another good pick for us. Losing HP for card draw every turn with our Rupture would be quite strong. A Combust is another very strong card for these HP down decks. This would have combined very nicely with Rupture to give us strength on every single turn. Reaper, of course, would have been nice for sustain, though we didn't need it very much with the apparitions and block. Usually these HP down decks do want some sustain, either in the form of this or something like a Bandage Up. Of course, relics like Blood Vial would also be great for sustaining HP. Toy Ornithopter would provide good sustain every time you heal with a potion. Meal Ticket offers great healing just for doing something you already want to do, like go to shops. Eternal Feather will heal you every time you visit a campfire, even without resting, just for having cards in your deck. Anchor or any of the boat relics are great for block, or a Calcum can be great if you need a little block. Other relics like Vajra that add even more strength would be great for upping your damage. Girya can give you several points of strength that'll help you kill those enemies faster. And when you're playing lots of attacks with Shuriken, that'll scale you up even quicker too. Well, I hope that has been helpful. I hope that helped to demonstrate some of the ways that the self-damage cards on Ironclad can be really good. And I hope that you are encouraged to maybe give them a shot the next time you see them if you haven't already tried them. So, for sticking around, watching all the way end, thanks so much. It really means a lot to me. I really appreciate it a lot. Please leave a like, share, subscribe, comment, all that good stuff. And I hope to see you again with another episode of What the Hell is Up with That sometime soon.